And we're live. Welcome to another edition of RockSim Live. I am Tim Van Milligan. I'm your host. This is where we talk about RockSim and how to use it. RockSim Pro is our other software and how to use that, or the Launch Visualizer. So this has been an exciting week because we did do a release partially. And I'll tell you about that in just a second. So I wanted to just say hello to everybody here so far. We've got a bunch of people in the room, and we have, oh man, I can't even pronounce that. Benahamonski. I butchered your name. I'm very sorry. David Hayes from Michigan. He's building rockets and smoking meat, and not sure how that's going to work out. And Rick DeFosses is from New Hampshire, and he says, love the new BP calculator in RockSim 11. Well, cool. So if you're just joining us, we have the chat running, and that's where you can put your questions, because that's what we're here for, is to answer your questions on how to use RockSim or RockSim Pro. And also, as you join us, please go ahead and say hello so that I can recognize you and your participation and where you're from, so that we can recognize your area. We also have Carlos from Marietta, Georgia, and he says it's hot and muggy in Marietta, Georgia, which I can totally believe because that's the deep southeast. Okay, let me take a sip of water here. Let me see, my computer's running a little bit slow today, and because I've been running a lot of different programs, and I should have restarted to clear out all the memory, but it's too late for that now. So it's just going to run slow. Let's see, let me open up my computer screen as soon as my web browser decides to launch. There it is. I am looking for the Apogee Rockets website. Okay, I think I can now switch over to this camera view. There we go. So this is the Apogee website. It's www.apogeerockets.com, and this is where you can get RockSim. There's a scrolling banner bar here, and it has a banner for RockSim 11 on it. And if you click on that, it'll take you to where you can buy it. And you can click on the how-to and guides. And from there, come down here to software. And then here is where you can download a free trial. Purchase RockSim. What is RockSim? What is this all about anyway? Some of the features, the frequently asked questions, system requirements, version history. Right now we're doing RockSim Live training, which is over here. If you click on that, and I'm going to open it in a new tab. And if you go to that tab, this is our archives of what we talked about last week. Last week we talked about the new B14 motor, the new maps feature in RockSim Pro, and can you put a glider on a rocket? And we also started designing a rocket with a parasite glider. And I give you the RockSim file so you can download that. And if we don't have any questions, that's kind of what we'll talk about today. But going back over here, under the version history, we released this week a bug fix version, and then it had some problems. Not the software itself, but the registration software that activates it. So you can use all these new features. So it is version 11.0.1, which means it's a bug fix version. That last digit is the bug fix. It doesn't Well, it has kind of sort of one small little new feature. It's where you can put textures, which is like a decal, on a parachute. And which is kind of a cool thing. And I'm not sure. We'll have to try that in RockSim Pro. Because I don't know if I've tried it in RockSim Pro. But what happened was we released it and the activation software didn't work for Windows users. So the Mac users are all set. Your software has been released and it went out. But for the Windows users, we didn't catch this until people started calling in and saying, hey, I got this notification, there's a new update. And I downloaded it and I can't use it. It won't activate. So that's how we found out. And we're sorry for that. We kind of rushed it out a little bit ahead of time. And the reason is the programmer that I use, he's getting married and he's going to be on his honeymoon for the next 2 weeks. So it was like either we rush it out now or I have to wait a whole 2 weeks for him to get back to be able to do that release. So we tried and we partially succeeded. We got the Macintosh version released and we got RockSim Pro. We also did an upgrade to that, and I talked about this last week. There's new maps in RockSim Pro. And so that has been released along with all the bug fixes that we did that are in both RockSim and RockSim Pro. We did them at the same time. So RockSim Pro's out and it's running fine. And the RockSim 11.0.1, which is a bug fix version for the Macintosh users, is out. But for the Windows users, you might have to wait another like 2.5 weeks until the programmer comes back from his honeymoon. So that's the story. Let's see if I wanted to. So last week we were talking about building a glider in RockSim, and we had started building the glider, and you can see I've got something that kind of looks like a parasite glider, and it's on the side of a Rising Star rocket kit. So that's kind of what it looks like there. But I was going to test out this new ability to put graphics on a parachute. So let me open up a parachute here. So I'm in RockSim Pro. So right now it shows the parachute as a rolled up cylinder. And this is being really slow. Come on, open up. Open, open, open. Oh man, it's slow. This is because I've been doing so much with my computer today. I've been doing a lot of CAD work and video work and editing photos and illustrations. And like I said, I should have cleared out the memory by restarting the computer, and I didn't do that. And now I'm kicking myself for it. So here's the parachute. I'm trying to get to the color tab and the texture tab. So the color right now is orange, and we saw that. And the texture is, this is the decal. So I'm going to just choose a decal file as soon as it decides to work. Terry Wheelock here, as he says, can we still launch a rocket from the moon? Sure, go ahead. She just got to get it there. Okay, so I'm going to go to my Rocket Designs folder, and I'm just looking for a texture. And not that. I want this design folder. No. It doesn't matter. I need a picture of a parachute. Let me go to my Apogee products folder. Okay, this is gonna be a long day because it's moving so slow. Somewhere in here, I got a folder called Parachute Instructions or Nylon Parachutes. I think I got some images of nylon parachutes. Okay, so here's a image of a 24-inch parachute. Let me show you what that's going to look like. As soon as this opens up. Okay, so that's what the image looks like. And that's one that I'm going to open and put onto this rocket. Okay, so right now, I need to make my tube invisible. Well, I can kind of sort of see it. So we're kind of looking through the tube, and we can now see that this parachute inside has been wrapped with that image, and I can kind of see what it did. It took the image and it just wrapped it around the cylinder. Okay. But let's go and launch this thing and see if it actually applied the image to the canopy. Oh man, it's moving slow. This might be a short episode because I have to, I want to go fast. I got things I got to accomplish. Okay, so we're going to do a launch simulation. D12.3, let's load that engine. And let's see. It normally runs a lot faster than this. This is just like, there's so much going on. I'm trying to stream this at the same time. And my computer, someday I'll get a new computer with one of those new fast chips in it. Flight events, parachute at maximum ejection delay, starting state, I got a 60-inch launch rod, and 17 degrees from vertical. Let's go more vertical. Launch conditions. Okay, so last week we were playing in California, so let's choose a different launch site. Let's go to Fox Valley, Illinois. And wind table, 8-mile-an-hour wind. Let's go to flight profile and see what this looks like. So this might take a second or two to load everything. It's running the simulation. Still working on it. And then it should load the launch visualizer. I guarantee it's a lot faster than this when you're not trying to stream the live stream at the same time. Okay, it's loading my new Google Maps. right, so there's the rocket on the pad. Why is it translucent? I can see through my rocket. Let's launch it though, see what happens. So the rocket's taking off. It's kind of a ghost image there. Okay, so I'm going to pause it right there. And then I want to zoom out. No, it didn't do anything with my parachute. It didn't apply my texture to the top of the parachute. That's what I was hoping to see. So look at these beautiful maps though. I mean, this is someplace in Illinois. And we can see that this is a nice soccer field right here. That right there is the launch pad. Let's find the rocket by clicking on Find the Rocket button. Let's move in there. There it is. Okay. And then zoom in. So, yeah, you can see my, oops, I lost the rocket. I do not have a parachute texture on my canopy. I'm getting it on the side view of the rolled up parachute, but not on the canopy. So that's interesting. Very cool though. All right. This is going so slow. Nobody's got a question yet. Terry Wheelock says, I figured out how to build a rocket-powered B-52 and launch an X-15 off of it. Well, cool. Terry says it's the Russian or Chinese hackers slowing your computer. It's possible, but I doubt it. I'm not worthy of being hacked. All right, so let me quit RockSim and free up some memory here. Just see what programs I have open and see if I can quit any. That would speed things up a little bit by freeing up a little RAM. My rocket is still translucent. I gotta get a faster computer because this is just like really, really slow. Why am my rocket kind of translucent? It shouldn't be like that. Carlos says, will there also be textures available someday for streamers? And the answer is yes. But it's not displaying it. I am trying. Let's open up a different rocket design. I'm just getting the spinny ball of death. RockSim Designs. Let's go with a Apogee Blue Streak. Save my changes? No. Let's see if we can get it to crash. Nope. Come on. It should be a solid blue, not translucent where I'm looking through the inside. But here's the streamer. And right now it's that yellow rod. It's all rolled up. And if you go to texture, you can choose a file. Let's try this image. Now let's do that one. It's more easy to look at. Okay. Click OK. Come on. Your programmer, Terry says, is going to have to reorient the parachute icon for the decal to display correctly. I'm not sure. That's a good question. So here you can see the streamer. You just saw it real quick, but it had the texture on it. But again, it's rolled up, so it's just a cylinder. Let's do a simulation and see if it is deployed. I should have used load or edit there. A8-3. Okay, flight events, deploy maximum ejection. Let's go to the flight profile and see if the streamer has anything on it. Like I said, this is a minor feature, being able to put textures on parachutes and streamers. It's like he had the ability to do it, so he did it. Okay, it's loading the launch visualizer. Okay, there's the rocket sitting on the pad. It's loading the background. Okay, let's launch it. Let's see where the streamer comes out. Right there. All right, so I'm not getting any texture on that streamer. I'm just getting a solid colored streamer. And it's coming down. So there's the launch pad right there. It went that way, and now it's drifting with the wind. That's why it's going to land over here on that one. All right. That was fun playing. So what we learned is that the streamer texture or the parachute's texture only shows up in the side view of the rocket. It doesn't show up in the launch visualizer. It would be nice to make it more realistic. Okay, no questions yet. Nobody has any questions. Well, let me close this under Microsoft Edge. Let's quit that. Free up some more memory. And on the desktop, we had the Rising Star with the glider. Let's go back to that and save changes. No. I think it was because I had turned on the ghosting in the parachute. No, now it's working. Okay, come on. Terry asks, when will RockSim have multi-sided body tube selection? It's going to be a long time, Terry, because there's a lot of data that we don't have, particularly drag and lift coefficient data. So if you have it, go ahead and send it in. Okay, so the last time we were building this glider and we attached it to a pod. I'm trying to remember what we did and where we left off. Okay, so I think we said in order for this glider to fly, it needs to have a motor ejection charge that's going to push it away from the rest of the rocket. So we got to make this body tube an engine mount. So I'm going to open the body tube. That's the glider body tube. And I have to say this is a motor mount. And let's say we'll call it glider body tube. Click OK. Okay, so it's designated as a motor mount, and I can load up to a 24 millimeter diameter in here. Carlos says, we are feeling greedy. How about textures on the outside of engine casings that are correct for each vendor? Yeah, you're getting greedy. Okay, so we made the body tube a pod, so now we got to put a motor in it. So let's go and run a simulation, and we'll show you how. We should see that glider body tube here in the motor list. Okay, so this is our main motor tube right there. And that one's 24 millimeters in diameter, and it's in the upper stage, which is good. So let's choose an engine. And we'll put in, I think we were using like a D12. So I'm just going to scroll down to the Estes D12-3. There's the 3. Click OK. And it should show that right there. Okay, so now the glider needs an engine too. So what I want to use is a fake rocket motor. Let's type in the word fake. Let's see if anything comes up. And let's show all engines. And unfortunately, we don't have that engine there. That was one of the things that we wanted the programmer to add to the program that went out. So let me cancel that, and I'll click OK to here, and it just takes me back to the main screen. So now I need to load a fake motor. So I'm going to go here to import engine file. Come on. And it's going to ask me what engine to load. And I have one on my desktop. As soon as I get there, and it's called fakemotor.rsc. And click OK. So now what makes this one fake is that it's a real physical motor in the database. But it has no mass. And the propellant is so minuscule you can say it doesn't even exist. Okay, so I'm going down the list here. Trying to get to the Fs. Okay, so here's the fake engine, and it is listed on the right side, so that's the side that's in the database. So that's good. And I'm going to click OK. All right, so we added that motor to the database, and now we got to add it to the rocket. So I'm going to go back here to prepare for launch. And this is what we did before. You went to this screen, choose engine. Okay. Show all engines. Aerotech Apogee. Okay, so it's going by alphabetical. Let's type in the word fake. Come on, I should see it. Manufacturer filter all. Let's make it an Apogee. Nope, didn't see that. Nope. Not seeing it. Not seeing it. Okay, so let's go back to the desktop and let's open that fake motor. And what should open is Engine Edit. And this is an older version of Engine Edit on my computer. It should still work because we haven't changed much in that program. Johan is here, and he's from the Netherlands. Would like to add to the calendar? No, you don't need to add to my calendar. Let's go to the desktop. There's the fake motor. Click open. Okay, so it's a 6mm diameter engine. So show all engines. Let's go smaller. Let's see. Oh, there it is right there. Apogee. It's an Apogee motor. Ejection delay is 3 seconds. Ignition delay is 0 seconds. And it hangs out. Let's call it 0. And click OK. It should be showing a motor in there. Okay, let's do a flight profile and see what happens. Okay, so theoretically what should happen is the glider should fall off. As soon as it runs the simulation. Okay, so, oh boy, this is only going to run for 2 minutes, or 2 seconds, 2.87 seconds. That's like not long enough. Let's go back here and see what happened. Flight events, parachute, maximum ejection delay, starting state. It should have gone longer than that. Simulation controls when the rocket reaches the ground, unless the rocket's going unstable. Let's see. No, it's still not. It's crashing. There's 2 motors in here. There should... Rocket didn't even leave the pad. Okay, so what's going on? Let's go back here to prepare for launch. Oh, so I got this fake motor in the wrong thing. Choose an engine, fake motor. Come on. 3 seconds there, and then the motor in the middle, let's make that a D12. No, it's got to be an 18 millimeter. Okay. That's this D12-3, click OK. So what should be happening, oops, I should have clicked launch. I didn't do it. Oh, let's do it. Okay, it's trying something. Well, so what should happen is the rocket should take off under the D12, and then 3 seconds after motor burnout, the glider should fall off. And it shouldn't be gliding yet. That's the part we still have to take care of. First, we just want to make sure it falls off at the right place at the right time. Okay, so this one's going to be in the air for 23 seconds, 27 seconds. Takes off, goes up. Okay, so the glider fell off, so let's pause that and figure out where the glider fell off. So I'm backing up right now. Come on. Okay, so glider's attached at 2 seconds. .63 seconds. Okay, so right between 3 and 3.2 seconds it fell off. And let's see, let's zoom out and see what happens to that glider. Okay, so here's the glider falling down, and it's falling, it's trying to glide. Let's see that again. Okay, so at this point the glider has detached at 3.2 seconds. You can see right here from this circle, that's the highest point that the glider reaches. Yeah, I'm going to zoom in on that glider. I got to put it like close to the middle of the screen. It's doing a nice curve right there. It looks like it's falling backwards. Let's go out one more step and let's go forward and see what happens. Kind of looks like it's going backwards, doesn't it? Yeah, so glider's gliding backwards. Not really gliding though. So something happened to the glider right there, and it decided to change directions. Let's see if we can see what might have happened. It decided it wanted a parachute out, but there was no parachute to be had. All right. Well, man, I just wish my computer was running faster because then I could do things. Right now, I'm afraid to do anything because it's just running so slow. Okay, so well, let's try it anyway. Okay, so in order for a rocket to glide, we need to have the wings or at a positive angle of attack relative to the tube, or the horizontal stabilizer at a negative angle of attack. So at a negative angle of attack, it wants to pull the glider up out of a glide. So we can do either one of them here. Either angle these fins downward in the back, or angle these wings upwards. I'm going to do the fins in the back because that's just my choice. Okay, so we're going to find those fins in the back. Horizontal stabilizer. So that's that one. I'm going to open that up. I'm going to zoom in. I want to look at it from about as close to the side as I can, because I want to angle it. Okay, so I'm looking at that fin right there. And we need to pitch it downward. So to do that, we're going to go to the radial position. Now, you can only do this in RockSim Pro because it allows for the fins to be canted. So the fin cant angle right now is, let's do a positive 20 degrees and see what happens. Okay, so you see that one fin went up and the other went down. And that will make the rocket spin, but we need both of those fins up. So what we're going to have to do is split those. So I'm going to cancel that. Save my changes, no. So this, I'm going to select the horizontal stabilizer right here, and then I'm going to click on the button to split. And what that does is it takes a set of fins and it makes it into two individual fins. So, come on, it won't let me click on it. It's acting really slow. And then hit split. And it's going to ask you, are you sure you want to split? I'm going to say yes. Okay, so now I should have two of them. This is the port side, and this is the starboard side. Port side is on the left. And you can see I got this one highlighted, and that's the fin that's not grayed out, so that's that one. So this one, I'm going to change the name to horizontal stabilizer port side, and I'm going to give it a radial or pitch angle of, let's call it 3 degrees. And I have to make sure I'm going in the right direction. So to make sure you're going in the right direction, just do a big angle. Make sure you're going in the right direction. Okay, so I was going in the wrong direction. I need to make this one a minus 3 degrees. Okay, so now relative to the wing, it's pitched down. Now then we have to do the same thing to the other side but we'll make it a positive 3 degrees so that they're both going up. Okay, so this one here is the starboard side. And so if I spin it around, just kind of getting it oriented. Okay, so this horizontal, or the tail from this one, the rocket tube, is kind of in the way. So now we're going to angle that one, and it was positive 3 degrees, and that you saw it went down. So if I make it 30 degrees, you'll see it goes way down, but we only want to go 3 degrees. Okay, and then click OK. Now, let's see if that glider changes how it came off the rocket. So the last time we launched, the rocket went up and the glider came off, but then it just kind of went down like in a spiral going downwards. So now let's hope that the glider will pitch up. Now let's see if that happens. So I'm going to save this, and I am going to now do a new launch. I'm not going to change anything, so that fake motor at 3 seconds into the flight is when it should fall off, approximately, because it does have a little bit of a burn time, but it's not much. Flight profile. Let's see, I'm crossing my fingers. I've never done this before, so I don't know if it's going to work or not. Terry Wheelock says, RockSim designed Firefox 5 is up on my channel. Oh, cool. Last week we went and saw Terry's YouTube channel, and now he says he's got a new rocket on there that he designed in RockSim. Okay, so I'm just trying to get a closer up view of this rocket. All right, so let's zoom out and let's see a trajectory view. And zoomed out really far. Okay, so let's launch it. Okay, so it doesn't look like, well, no. Our glider did the same path that it did before. So it didn't glide. Okay. This is this line right here, this nice curved line is the glider. And then why did it all of a sudden, like right here, do a nosedive? So here it's coming down, comes around, and then whoop. Okay, let's try something else. So I'm going to really exaggerate those fins on that glider. So before we had 3 degrees, so let's bump that up. So the radial position. And so instead of being 3 degrees, let's try 30 degrees, okay? And when we look into it, we can really see we got some really negative angle of attack there. And then so we have to do the other side and make it a positive 30 degrees. Or negative 30 degrees, I'm sorry. So that they're both pitched down. Okay, so if I look at the rocket now and if I spin it around, okay, so both horizontal tails are now pitched downwards. Let's see if this works. I never did see this. Right here is our fake motor, that little cylinder right there in the middle. Okay, so we're going to go and do another launch. Flight profile, let's see what happens. At this point, I don't think anything's going to happen, but you never know. This is how you learn. You just experiment. Okay, so something happened here. So our previous launch, we went to 400 feet. Now this one only went to 257. So those fins are definitely affecting the trajectory of the rocket. See, now, since I've really made a lot of pitch angle on them, you can actually see it there. Okay, so let's look at it in 2D, zoom in a little bit. So the rocket on the pad is sitting on this soccer field right there, and it takes off. Yeah, our glider is still doing the same thing. It's just now that it's happening closer to the Earth. It does look like it's swinging a wider arc. But look at the orientation of the glider right now. It's pitched up. I wonder if it's trying to pop a parachute out. Let's back it up to see what it looks like when it's right in there in this area. Okay, so let's zoom in here. Okay, so what's going on is our glider is going backwards. It's kind of, yeah, it's not going forward. So I think we need to add some nose weight to that glider. See if we can get it to pitch down its nose. So now we're getting into the balancing of the glider. So we'll go to the rocket design components. We're going to go to this nose cone right here, and let's put some mass in there. It's a pretty lightweight rocket. We got a 1.37 gram nose cone and an 8.46 gram body tube. And the fins hardly weigh anything at all. So I didn't want to do that. I wanted to select the nose cone and add a mass object. This is just the preliminary of designing a glider. And if it works, then we would probably have to design the glider separately in order to not screw up the mass. So let's add, I don't know, 8 grams to this glider nose cone. So here's the mass. And we'll move it back just a little bit. I don't know where the center of pressure is of this glider. And that's what I'm saying is you probably have to design the glider separately to have it so you know where that center of pressure and center of gravity. So now on a glider, you want the center of gravity approximately at the wing location on the glider. Probably like the quarter chord line is typical. And I don't know what it is right now. Okay, so now we added some mass. Let's run the simulation again. Flight profile and see if anything changes. $251. Glider fell off. Oops, I stopped it. Let's go to this view. Here's the trajectory. The rocket's taken off. Okay, so here's the glider. Now this time it's different, definitely different. Let me turn off these red lines right here. Those are the extruded flight path. Okay, so here's the glider. Let's back it up a little bit so that the glider is still in the air. So at this point, the glider is in the air. And we need to find the orientation of the glider. Okay, it's still flying backwards. See that? Okay. We need no more nose weight. Let's try more nose weight. So let's go to rocket design, components, the mass. And let's try, I don't know, let's try 20 grams. Okay. And let's go to prepare for launch. Okay, so the D12-3, this motor falls off in 3 seconds. Let's change that to 2 seconds. Flight profile. Let's see if this one looks any different. Okay, we're still losing altitude. That kind of makes sense because we're making the rocket heavier. There's the glider, it takes off. All right, so that's working fine there. All right, so the glider is still, looks like it's going backwards. Can't get it to go frontwards. Okay. Well, you see that glider is flying backwards. Oh, I was hoping it would work. Didn't work. It's really hard to compute all this. Anyway, we got a question here. How about increasing the wind speed, says Alfred Indy. I have an 8-mile-an-hour wind on that one, so I'm not sure what's going on. Carlos says, question 3, could Apogee consider making a directional BP ejection charge device, perhaps with a 3D printer, made to shoot fire one way and shove a foam body plug the other way? No more melted recovery devices. So what happens when you fire an ejection charge is, it's not like a rocket motor where you get a direction. Basically, you're just creating a lot of gas. So having the gas go in one direction, if you want, you can push a foam plug out. You don't need a special ejection, device for that. You just need to ignite it and just let the plug come flying out. because we sell ejection plugs. If you go to the Apogee website, Terry says it won't glide because it acts like like the parachute came out. And that's what I'm saying, Terry. Why is it doing that? Johan says, oh man, ID a boost glider, turning drove me nuts. Managed to fly at 42 seconds on a half A motor on a glider. That's cool. Ejection plug. Yeah, we sell a couple of different sizes, 13 millimeter, 18 millimeter, 24 millimeter. That's the special tool that we use to make these things. And so then they're plugs. And then they fill the entire tube, just like a piston. And when you put an ejection charge behind them, it's going to blow in one direction because the engine is keeping it from going that way. So the plug is going to go that way. Oh, you're not seeing my website. The screen. Yeah, so here's the ejection plugs. You just go to the search bar here at the top and you just type in ejection plug or plug, and these will show up. And yeah, so they come shooting out. They work great. They're mostly used on competition rockets where you have to get that parachute out. You know, and normally you're packing in as big of a parachute into as small of a tube as possible, you know, and that's a disaster waiting to happen. So if you use a plug, it pushes it all out and it gets it out, guaranteed. So we make it, you know, like I said, 13 millimeter, 18 millimeter, 24 millimeter, and 40 millimeter, which is the FAI style. In the FAI competition, they changed the rules that you can't have the plug fall separately from the rocket. So you have to put a little shock cord between the plug and the rocket, like a nose cone, so that it all comes down together, because they don't want those plugs, you know, becoming litter. They're not biodegradable. They are plastic, so they will stick around for a long time. If they land in water, they're going to float. Eventually, they're going to make it downstream. Yeah, so it's a good idea. You know, whenever I see them on the field, I always pick them up because they're reusable too. Okay, so it's past 3 o'clock. Next week, we will not be here because next week is the 4th of July week. 4th of July is on Thursday. And so Friday, is that right? Yeah, Friday will be the 5th. And so we won't be here just because everybody's going to be on vacation. Apogee will still be open. So if you wanted to order stuff on Friday, we'll be closed on the 4th to celebrate the 4th of July. But we will be back on the 5th, although some people are going to be taking vacation, so we're going to be under a reduced staff level, but we'll still be here. And then the next week after that, we should be back to our normal, and that's the 12th. And I think I might have, if Martin is available, to do RockSim that day, hopefully. Okay, so Alfred Indy, he says, he's giving a countdown, and he says, let's watch Terry Wheelock crash something. No, don't crash anything, Terry. I'll give you a countdown, and we'll end the stream. So, in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go out and launch something, not crash something. Use RockSim to prevent those crashes. Okay, so have a great week. Have a wonderful 4th of July. Celebrate American Independence Day with fireworks and your family and everything like that. So thank you, and we'll see you in a couple weeks.